Hello, everyone. My name is Kalsoom, Lakhani, and I'm the founder of Invest to Innovate, or I2I. We work with early-stage enterprises in new markets starting in Pakistan. And a lot of people ask me about my journey to launching I2I and why I decided to launch it. And so much of it has now been driven by this very traditional entrepreneurship journey. I didn't launch 10 startups by the time I was 10, which I know people that have, but I was someone that was really driven by the values that I wanted to portray in my life as well as in my work. And I was someone who, I feel like I was always entrepreneurial before I actually became an entrepreneur. And so the people that I feel like have inspired me, as well as so many people throughout the world, are people like Muhammad Yunus of the Green Bank, providing financial inclusion to low-income communities, first in Bangladesh and now all over the world. Steve Jobs, which I'm sure so many people here have multiple Apple devices. Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And this last picture is probably someone you wouldn't recognize. This is actually my grandmother. She's actually one of my biggest heroes and someone that taught me so much of the type of person that I want to be and the type of businesswoman I want to be as well. My grandmother passed away last September. This is a picture taken by my grandfather actually in the 1950s. But she was someone that was before her time. She was one of the first commanders of the Women's National Guard that was set up after partition between India and Pakistan. She's my maternal grandmother, so she's on my Bangladeshi side. So in the war of 1971 between what was then West and East Pakistan, that Bangladesh then gained their independence, my grandmother was the matriarch that kept my family very safe during the war against Pakistan. And what really holds all these people together, the values that I really feel, is this vision that's bigger than themselves, and this determination and this courage to challenge the status quo. And I think that's something that exists whether you're an entrepreneur, you're an activist, or you're an advocate. I think that's something that holds us all together, and many people in the room that are so excited to meet over the next few days. I'm the daughter of a Pakistani father and a Bangladeshi mother, which is kind of a mouthful if you think about the identity that comes from that. But what my parents always taught me, my father is an entrepreneur himself, but what my parents always taught me was never to limit myself by thinking I should only be a lawyer, doctor, engineer. I think that's something that some families in our part of the world tend to put their children in a box. My parents instead taught me to really dream big, and anything that I wanted to do, they were my biggest cheerleaders. So when I launched in 2008, January 2008, I was, as a Pakistani and as a young Pakistani, I feel very passionate about the fact that back in 2008, and this continues today, the depiction of Pakistan in the news media is something that's very negative. When you become the 24/7 news cycle, you see stories about terrorism and suicide bombings and corruption, but not the positive stories that we see on the ground. We have Pakistanis that are here at the delegation today that have so many amazing stories on the ground and so much innovation that's happening in the country. So what Chokbar, Changing Up Pakistan, which I launched 4 years ago, aimed to do was not be apologetic about the news, do current affairs analysis, but also to provide interviews with filmmakers and artists and dancers and comic book artists like you see in that post over there. But I realized as I was meeting these people, and I was meeting so many young people through my work and through my writing, as well as my day job. Prior to I2I, I was the director of a venture philanthropy organization. We provided seed funding to a lot of nonprofits on the ground, mainly in Pakistan. I was meeting so many young people that had these amazing ideas. They just couldn't get the resources or the capital to really start their ideas. And that's, as an example, one person that really pushed me to really launch and leave my job and launch I2I is a dear friend of mine now, Asim Hasnain, who you see his picture on the right. And Asim is an entrepreneur in Lahore. He's the founder of Milk Off, which works with small dairy farmers on the distribution and transportation side of the value chain, which is really innovative, considering that Pakistan is the 4th largest producer of dairy, and yet we're a net importer. So the amount of potential to really innovate that chain is really so much. And Asim is someone who's very happy here. We were having coffee. Asim is someone who's from southern Punjab, actually. He talks about how he used to collect rifle shells as a hobby, and went on to do his business degree from one of the top universities in Pakistan. And he had this amazing idea called Mukha. And yet he had so many doors that were slamming in his face because he didn't have the networks in place. Everyone thought his idea was really great, but he couldn't They were saying it was too risky, come to us later. And so for him, it was something that was so frustrating. He had so much passion and so much drive, he just needed the support to get it started. So really, he was one of the biggest impetuses for launching Invest to Innovate, which is what we launched 9 months ago, or Eye to Eye. And what we are is really a conduit. Eye to Eye is an intermediary organization that works with early stage enterprises and connects them to funders. We work in new markets, so new and frontier markets, potentially Central Asia, but also looking specifically at a place like Pakistan, which is my home country, so it made sense to start from there. And knowing that the hunger and the drive that existed, the potential that existed in a place like Pakistan was so much, and especially among the youth, that we really couldn't ignore that potential and how to really tap into it and to turn it into feasible business models that could really have a strong social and environmental impact in the country. So what Eye to Eye aims to do is we identify early stage enterprises, we vet them, we provide capacity development support to grow those businesses. And then what we do is we just launched the Angel Investor Network that leverages the Pakistani diaspora as well as local Pakistani investors in order to provide mentorship and later early stage funding for these enterprises that come through our accelerator model. And so for us, the story is something that's a journey that's still continuing. So when I was asked to speak about my journey to where I am today, it's something that's an ever-moving target. It's something that I continue to be inspired, we continue to change the idea, and I'm really excited to be here because not just to share my own journey, but to learn so much from the people that I'm sure are going to inspire me so much in the room as well today. Thank you.